Welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, helping you get to your onward journey. A friendly service that helps you get from A to B, or probably nowhere at all.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, or as we like to call it, MERP. I'm James, and with me is our co-host Sam. Good evening, Sam.
Hello, how the devil are you?
Well, I'm not too bad, not too bad. I've come off a night shift, so apologies if I do sound a bit sleepy, but it's one of the harshnesses of shift work is coming off that shift and turning around so you don't end up staying up all night. But apart from that, I'm quite well. And how the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've had a fairly productive day. I am still I have disassembled all of my old layout now, and I am very much on the now trying to salvage the baseboards to make new baseboards.
Oh.
So it's going as well as you may think it is going.
That's a horrendous job because I change my mind quite often with my layouts, and so yeah, it's always a case of taking the track up and removing the scenery, and boiling water. I find is usually best. Take the baseboard outside, just pour boiling water on it, and then get a paint scraper and just start hacking away at it because it ain't coming off any other way. But I still haven't learned the technique of getting that track clean of all the ballast because you can put it on there and it will still stick on, and it just looks horrendous. I've tried everything like wire brushing it or just a normal paintbrush, anything like that, just sticks on and it bugs me. It's just I want it clean.
I tell you what, I did find I've got an old toothbrush that I use for when I strip models. I definitely
Yeah.
I isopropyl alcohol and I use an old toothbrush to sort of clean it off, and that works pretty well.
No, that's not too bad. Actually, I do have one of the kids' old toothbrush when they're a baby. To when I do the same with stripping the models and cleaning the paint off. And I remember my eldest, but quite temptingly, tried to put it back in her mouth, like when I've had it out. So, oh, you were doing that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't do that, please.
It doesn't taste as good as it once did. So yeah. Yeah, that's well. I suppose it's a change, end of an era, and it will change for your layout then in regards to that. And I'll tell you, you've got exciting new plans for a new layout.
I do, and I tell you what, let's talk segues and talk about the fact that at this very second that we're recording, I've just dropped a brand new video, which actually is 20 minutes of me talking about getting rid of the layout and what the new layout's going to be. So if you haven't already, you can go and check out my YouTube channel, Emperor's Path, and you'll see that
Exciting.
video.
That's exciting stuff. I shall go and watch that after this. And,
Whilst trying to stay up. It's
yeah,
probably not the
I'll
best
be
thing.
all right. But yeah, I'll put a few comments on there, and yeah, hopefully
Well,
promote your video for you.
thank you. Hopefully there'll be plenty of our inside jokes on there that nobody else will understand.
Yeah, the Steve Wright one that'll just live forever. So
On that note, I think we'll just talk about what. So apologies to anyone who listened to episode 0 and was excited for the questions that were going to be directed towards James. Unfortunately, something came up that I messaged James about, and I said maybe we should talk about this for episode 1. And I feel hopefully it's going to be an interesting subject because I guess you could go on any way of whether you think this is a positive thing or a negative thing, or whether it's a mixture of all of them. But James, do you want to tell everyone what the article is, and I'll give our sources and where we've got the main article from.
yes, so it sort of transpired in the last few days that he's Mike Astley, isn't it? I can remember his name,
Mike
but
Ashley.
Ashley. I'm thinking of Rick Astley.
Isn't Mike Ashley a footballer? I mean, I'm the worst person to say that because I do not follow football.
I can name cricketers, and that's about as far as I can go, really. Not a cricketer, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, Mike Astley, Ashley, I'll get there, of Sports Direct fame. His company have bought shares in Hornby, which is all quite an interesting and sort of eye-opening development, I suppose, in regards to the fact that he's mostly known, or the company's known for being associated with Sports Direct. And the suggestion is that this is due to Hornby's fall in profits. I think they made a 5.1 million loss from September last year. And share prices dropped to about, I think they were about 38p a share at one point. And this is when Mike's company's come in and they've bought around 8.9% of the shares, making him one of the higher shareholders within the company. Well, so I understand. So when I heard this news, it was a bit confusing because it's like it's very, very bizarre, and it's not, a company you feel would be associated with Hornby Railways or Sports Direct. I mean, their clientele are certainly not the people you'd imagine being into model trains. Mostly like to hang outside shops with loud music playing. Stereotyping there.
Go on, tell us about the youths of the nation. Go on.
Kids with their Staffordshire Bull Terriers. Nothing wrong with Staffies. I had a Staffy and absolutely wonderful dogs.
I do love a Staffy. Let's now go on to that weird tangent. But no, so our source for this, just to clarify where we've got it from, in case in a couple of days people turn around and say to us, well, where did you get this information? So our reliable sources. I've found it on theindependent.co.uk, which is
it's also where I read it.
excellent. Okay, so we're getting our sources at the same place. It's not like supernews.biz or something like that. It's from a reputable source. So the headline is Mike Ashley to advise Hornby after taking stake in model train firm. The toy company told shareholders on Wednesday that the Frasers Group founder and majority owner has entered into a consultancy arrangement. Sorry, getting me to read it's probably the worst idea. But yeah, a consultancy arrangement. I'm going to say straight off the bat, the first joke and pun that I said to James on this is that I am waiting for the Beatles train to be no more, and soon we're going to see 040s with wagons of sportsdirect.com, UK's #1, going around layouts all across the south coast. And unfortunately, it is not something that I can unsee now that I've said it. So
yeah, you don't want to forget the tags that'll be on it, and any coaches with a few smashed windows and that. Again, stereotyping a little bit there, but
running leggings with holes in them.
That's it. And is it Fire Trap? I think the brand of jeans they like to sell there. I tried one of them once. I wouldn't wear them again. I think mostly because they fell apart after one wear. But
is it Fire Trap and Crackhopper? Was Crackhopper the other, like their walking brand?
Could be. I don't. I do use Sports Direct, but only for actual sports clothes, in which I just buy stuff for the gym. But yeah, they have sort of expanded because you can get like Pokemon cards and stuff like there now as well, can't you? So I've seen that in there, and like really geeky stuff like Star Wars figures. That I've seen them in there, and other sort of collectibles along those lines. So maybe the Hornby move is something that the company is interested in, and maybe that is where they're going. But it just seems so strange that you'd walk into a Sports Direct to go buy static grass. It's not the first thing you'd think of.
I mean, yeah,
that link between football boots and the static grass, maybe AstroTurf. I don't know.
But you'll suddenly start getting Sabutio and stuff like that in there.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Actually, I don't haven't played Sabutio in years. It's I don't think it's quite FIFA, is it? I think it's down with the kids. But,
thing is, I don't know anyone who actually ever managed to properly play Sabutio, or Sabutio, however you want to call it. But you make a very interesting point in the fact that Sports Direct recently has become very much a case of that they're using this sort of geek era type thing, because I know the Sports Direct in Portsmouth has a game, as in game.co.uk, inside the Sports Direct. Funnily, what triggered my memory, as you said about Pokemon, and anyone doesn't know, every now and again Pokemon do like a distribution where they release a rare shiny or something special about a Pokemon, and in order to get it you have to go and get a game code from game. And I went to go get it, and I was like, where is our game now? And then it turns out it's inside this Sports Direct, and I was well out of place when I was stood there next to like all the young dads having a midlife crisis with like all their golf gear and all their tennis gear and stuff.
It is, yeah, because ours is the same, exactly the same in Banbury. the game is in Sports Direct there, and I mean that's how I know about the Pokemon cards. Because my daughter's massive Pokemon fan, and I will go on a hunt for her to try and find a certain packs of cards sometimes, and just happened to there's a game there. Well, the game is Pokemon, and we should find something there. But yeah, it's this such a weird mismatched world that's collided together. So yeah, it would be very interesting to see where they go with this. I think from reading the article, my understanding is it's more of a supportive role that Mike's going to be playing in regards to logistics and systems and operations. So I don't know how much he's going to be recommending that they do a new retooled Class 50 or something like that. Um, I'm not sure if he is a big railway modeler. I've never got that impression from him.
I mean,
Um,
going from Newcastle, because you said he was a Newcastle guy, was
Yeah, I'm sure he was the owner of Newcastle United side. But you see, this is the limits of our football knowledge.
I use the
Clearly
term Newcastle guy.
clearly exposed here. I mean, my football has sort of slightly come out the woodwork this season only because Luton Town have gone to the Premiership. But once they go back to how at the end, I'll probably be like, I can't be arsed with football again. But yeah, so I believe it was Newcastle, and I'll probably do a quick Google check and on that one. But I don't think it was very popular there either, if I recall. But
So I think one of the big things about Mike Ashley is, and I keep going to say Ashley now, is we're just defamation of character all over the place during this. Is so I know of him as he's got quite the rep for obviously making a lot of money, but not necessarily treating staff correctly. And when
Yeah.
I heard this news, it was one of the things that popped into my head first. Um, I don't know if you could ever say that there's any sort of social media engagement on a Sports Direct. I mean, I personally don't follow them on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And say what you want about Hornby, but especially within the last sort of couple of years, they have been trying to go out of their way with a lot more sort of social media posts. Me personally, I've had engagement from them where they've asked to work with me and stuff like that, and I've been very, very lucky in that sense. That is a Hornby that sort of 10 years ago wouldn't have been a thing. I mean, it probably would have been a thing 5 years ago, but I'm intrigued as to how, okay, let's have a look at how we can save money. Oh, okay, you're paying this person X amount to be your social media person. Now let's drop that. That doesn't fit in with the brand model of what they're doing. Do you think that could be something that could happen and we're going to start losing some of the really good aspects of what have come out of Hornby in the last years? Or do you think maybe it'd be going a different way?
I don't know. Yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, and I just had whilst she was just talking, I mean, I just had a quick look on Instagram, and then Sports Direct do have their own Instagram page, although it's more of a called Sports Direct Fitness. I think was the one I found there. So maybe it would be unusual for a company in this day and age not to try and have that social media brand awareness. I think without that, you're sort of, trying to paddle upstream without the actual paddle, I suppose. Because it's so important in today's sort of society, and usually the best way to get seen, especially the way that everything evolves, with streaming platforms and stuff like that. Advertisements on television, I don't think have the same effect as what they once did. So you have to get your brand out there differently. So maybe those positions in the company are safe, but like you say, there could be other positions that are not. And where do you streamline it and cut it down? And it's interesting to consider it. But without, I'm not a massive knowledgeable business guy. So I can only speculate. But yeah, it depends. I mean, maybe they could go one way or the other. You might decide that all these really expensive models, all this fine detail, yeah, they're great and all, but they cost too much to produce. People aren't buying them anymore, or not as much as they were. We should go to, just concentrate on the railroad range, and that way would keep prices lower, and you could probably make more profit because you'd sell more product. I don't know. I don't know if that's feasible, or maybe it'd be the other way around. You decide, well, look, there's no point investing in railroad, which would be a shame because that is for most people, the sort of starting point for getting in the hobby. And they just concentrate on the high end models, which, as the market stands, I don't think we need another high end model company. We have the likes of a Scale now. They're developing and becoming bigger. Obviously, Bachmann's there. And then you've got Cavalex coming into the market, and I know they've got one Loco, which is a Class 56, but it's an incredible model. It's for your first model. It's a really good starting point, and
it's been everywhere. I feel like
yeah.
At the moment it's 56, 56, 56. So yeah, they have done very well. Sorry, I just wanted to chime in and hear my own voice for a second.
Yeah, absolutely should, isn't it? Because like YouTube, you can't for 2 weeks. Every video that came up was a Cavalex 56 review, and it was like, oh, I get it. It's a good model. But what annoyed me more was also mine had arrived, but because I've been working on my layout, my rolling road was packed away somewhere, so I couldn't even test mine to have a play with it. So I'm seeing everyone else play with theirs. It's just, stop tormenting me. But even now, I think there was a video come up the other day. And the bloke went, "Oh, I've got a Cavalex model." And he goes, "Oh, we'll have a little look at it. I'm not going to do a review." I was, "Oh, thank God for that." But you're a bit late. but it is a really good model, and and I know Scale have had a lot of success in the rail industry awards at the start of the year. But I really do think that Cavalex could be stepping on their toes next year when it comes to voting for your favourite model and company and that. So yeah, going back to that, you've got these high end model companies, and I always feel that Hornby do have some very nice high end models, but I think they neglect sometimes the lower end, and they are the household name of model railways, and that they are, anyone that was looking to start with model trains is probably going to look for a Hornby product before they look for anything else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if they did decide to go that way, there wouldn't really be anything left out there, I suppose, for people to start with, and that's where the problem is because a lot of people talk about getting into the hobby, and it's probably another subject we could have another topic, which is just the price of models. So it obviously is a contentious subject that gets everyone up in arms, and I'm sure we could get a good few hours discussing that. So yeah, it'll be interesting where it goes. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Where do you think they might go with it?
So, funnily enough, exactly what you've just said, echoing that, the first thing I thought was actually this might be the instance. Sports Direct, often known for having cheap stuff, whether it's good stuff, bad stuff, it's usually cheap, which can mean value for money, can mean it's poor quality. It depends on how you look at it and what you buy. Like, I have picked up some stuff that has lasted forever from Sports Direct, all joking aside. And then I've also purchased stuff that I believe the first time I put it on, it ripped. Which probably says more about me wearing sportswear than anything else. But I think you are hitting the nail directly on the head in the fact that this could be the change for Hornby for the better, in the sense that this could be Mike Ashley coming in and saying, look, you've got, he might not turn around to say that the 56 is an amazing Loco or that a Scales 37 is the best thing. But he could be sitting there going, look, you're a household name, but your Locos and everything. Let's put it into a situation that really helps you understand how jaded Hornby's pricing was on, and I'm going to use, everyone knows I love a Class 50. The Hornby brought out a new Class 50, not really newly tooled. It went from a the only major differences that I remember that came out of the revised is that it went from a 8-pin to a 21-pin, and otherwise there wasn't really any big changes on it. I mean, myself and yourself have both owned those Class 50s that Hornby made, but nothing really changed. Now, the retail price for those when they came out was somewhere in the region of about £220. Then
eye-watering, yeah.
But then, especially when you look at the fact that not really anything's changed on it, considering you used to be able to pick them up for about £100, if I remember correctly. And then New Kid on the Block Acura scale announces that they're doing a Class 50, and funnily enough, theirs has all these bells, whistles, and horns, and all these things, and they're selling it for 169.99.
That's, but maybe that's where the difference is, because Hornby's such a bigger company than the Curascow, and I'm sure that Curascow managed to keep their prices down because they are just a small company. Um, that's where the difference lies, and maybe that will
Maybe.
what will become of Hornby is for a better word, streamlining in regards to reducing your costs and maybe looking at these smaller model railway companies and how they do it.
Mm.
Um, but at the same time, you get where you have these companies that do that. They also work on a different sort of method to how Hornby. I mean, Hornby work like any other sort of major manufacturer, in which they'll announce a product, they will fund that designed process, the tooling, the manufacture. All of that is all paid for through bank loans or money and profits that they already have. And then we look at like the smaller companies like Revolution, in particular, they make great little models, but they generally rely on a pre-order and deposit system to get these projects off the ground.
Mm.
Uh, so, but it's definitely, it does make you wonder where it's going. I mean, yeah, like you say, the Class 50s. I think they're 2008 maybe when the first Class 50 made its appearance. So it's quite long in the tooth, that Hornby model.
Especially when you
Um,
think it's not far off the original lemur tooling. Like that, you can use the lemur bodies on the chassis.
I never knew that. I didn't know that could be done. But that's it.
It's one of the few what I would call I'd say that the Hornby Class 50s are amazing. I love my Class 50s that Hornby have made,
Yeah.
and they are fantastic models. One of my favorite things is that you can just prise them off the body with your fingers. You don't need any particular special tools or screws or anything like that, and that's really handy if you need to get under the hood of them, kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and yeah, you can body swap them. It's why the Lima 50 shells sell for so much because they're the same. They can go on the same chassis.
Well, no, I never knew that. I didn't know that. That's an interesting one.
There you go.
Yeah.
So bringing it back around to the topic of discussion today. So looking, doing a quick Google search, myself and James were able to locate that within the last sort of 6 hours, 35 minutes, if you look at the news pages when you search Mike Ashley, it's not actually about the Hornby consultation. It's about the fact that he's suing Newcastle United over something to do with T-shirts and not being able to sell them in Sports Direct. Is that the right swing of the
Yeah,
game?
I think that's so from what I understand is Sports Direct obviously sold the official replica Newcastle United football shirts, and I think they've come around to another order, and this order hasn't been fulfilled. So he's now looking at taking Newcastle United to court because the article suggests that they have gone for JD Sports in preference to Sports Direct. And what is the interesting part of that is Mike's comment that the fans will lose out because they will now have to pay more for their shirts, which goes back to that point that Sports Direct is that company that is trying to save the customer money. And there are, as I say, it's we don't want to be sued for slander or anything, but there's been previous with Mike and his company and how they streamline again you and keep those prices down. So yeah, it will be interesting to see where this goes with Hornby, because it is certainly a different approach, especially to how when Simon Kohler was there and he was running the show, and it's and I think Simon's a very Marmite kind of guy. When you talk to people in the hobby, they either really love him or they sort of just think he was there to try and sort of fulfill his boyhood dreams and get all those models that he wanted and just sort of one up his brother. That's kind of impressive. I like. I've spoken to Simon a couple of times. I do like Simon, and but I do get that impression when watching like Hornby and Model World. He always seem to be sort of nudging and going, there you go, there you go. I told you I'd get that train set. So, but yeah,
Amazing.
it's definitely it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? With that, and I know Mike is only there as consultant. I think I can't remember his full name. I think it's Richard. Apologies, but I can't remember his surname. I think it's Richard is now the director at Hornby. But again, it'd be interesting to see where that goes. And hopefully, yeah, it will be a turnaround for Hornby. And because what the hobby needs. I mean, at the moment, it's all doom and gloom, and everyone is predicting that the hobby is dead. But still seem to be live and kicking the other day when I went to Ali Pali. There's quite a few people there and a lot of fresh blood, should I say. I've noticed this more and more, that there is a lot of younger children at these model shows these days. Kids around the same age as my children, and there's definitely more of an interest, I think, in the physical rather than the digital. I think from this age group, and maybe that's something that's sort of coming through because they are born into the digital age. It's kind of like gone full circle. Like the generation before were just coming out of that analog age, shall we say, and into that digital age, and became very obsessed with it, and the emergence of the smartphone and improvements in computing and all that. And maybe that's why they've gone that way. And these kids are just like, well, that's just normal to see, your smartphones and your smart TVs, etc., and iPads and all that. And it's that maybe that's the charm of the model railways, and that's the different thing, and that's what's interesting. So, yeah, it was good to see that there, and I realised that we've gone off a completely different topic than what I have.
No, it's good because we even before we sat down, before we pressed the record button tonight, we even said we wanted to talk about Ali Pali and how great it was. I'm just quickly, I've got a few notes that I've typed up here just regarding the situation, but I do want to come back to the Ali Pali stuff because that does play a massive part into the conversation about this. So it's worth noting that from the Financial Times, it was actually advised that as soon as the announcement that Mark Ashley was going to be acting as a consultant, the share price of Hornby actually went up by 7%. So
yes, I read
increased.
That too, yeah.
So that is something really interesting. I really hope. So I have no problem with Hornby making, I'm using quotation marks here, cheaper models. I don't mind if the models don't have all these bells and whistles. I want the price to reflect it, though. I think that's where the fine line is here, where if you are bringing out, I mean, everyone knows if they've seen my videos before, my biggest gripe is that Beatles train set. It is so expensive for a model that has paid for its tooling thousands of times over. It's all really old, really outdated models that have just been slapped with Beatles stuff on it. But the price doesn't reflect that. And it infuriates me because it would be a fun little commodity if it reflected that price, but it doesn't. And I really hope that with this, Hornby start to have a look at the pricing and go, right, okay, we can make the cheaper trains, but our prices have to reflect them.
Yeah.
People have reviewed a well-known YouTuber who shares the same name as myself, reviewed the Hornby 14XX and stated that it was just a waste of money because it was exactly the same thing as it was 15 years ago when it came out. And it's one of the few models that was released as a Hornby Railroad Plus, and it was £75, but he said nothing's changed on it. And it's one of the few models that doesn't have a DCC decoder socket in it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of those tank engines because I've always been quite a fan of the 14XX, and it's just one of those sort of lovely tank engines, and probably comes from just the fact that Duck and Oliver were my favourites in Thomas.
Yeah, boy.
And I've got the old Daypole model that I repainted and hardwired, and it's interesting to know that I have bought a Hornby one. I've managed to pick one up second hand. It's quite interesting that would just be the exact same model in there, and it still is today.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that Daypole one, it was a gift from my gran, and I'm sure it probably cost her about £20 or something like that. Um, and yeah, as I say, the second hand model I picked up for £43. So to ask for £75 for that is it's a lot of money to pay for something that's probably paid for itself 10 times over tooling wise. And I appreciate tooling wears out and it does need refreshing, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, you're right. The price has got to reflect the product, and I don't think they do at the moment. And it's hard because everything's really expensive at
Yeah.
the moment. Everything is expensive. It doesn't matter what it is, and disposable income is taking a hit from every angle. Um, but that is what the problem with the hobby is, that we don't have as much disposable income, yet we're still being delivered all these very nice, expensive models.
Hmm.
Um, and sacrifices have to be made. And I actually had to cancel pre-order the other day, and I've never had to do it before because I like to budget well for these things. But I mean, partly because I'm sure I've been caught out by the Chinese New Year and the fact that they've managed to get everything out of the factory at the same time. But it just got to that point that I can't afford this. I can't. I had a pre-order turn up at the start of the month, a pre-order in the middle of the month, and then I was at Ali Pally. I saw Tony at Tony's Trains. I made a pre-order with him, and he said, "Oh, your pre-order's in next week." Oh, bloody hell. Okay. Yeah, no worries. And then I got a phone call from someone, another shop telling me, the pre-order's coming in on Monday. Do I still want it? And at that point, I started to say, I can't do this. I can't afford this. Yet once upon a time, that wouldn't have mattered. It would have been a case of, the models were such a fair price and to my disposable income that, yeah, it's going to chip a little bit away at what I'd probably try and like to put in the savings account at the end of the month. But, yeah, bugger it. Let's buy it. And nowadays, I think a lot of people are in that situation where you got to say no. I
Hmm.
can't afford that, and I can't have that.
And this is where the Acura scale, bizarrely, I've never actually purchased an Acura scale thing, but I'm singing a lot of praises for them.
Hmm.
The Acura scale thing, where you can effectively pay for your pre-order. So your pre-order price is guaranteed. You pay for your
Yeah,
item in advance. And I'm shocked why that's not a thing. Like,
that
pe
it's great. Yeah, I know I've actually used that for the Class 66s because
mm.
they'd done a lot of colours and I wanted a lot of colours. And so I did exactly that. I was like, this is great. And I paid off a little bit every month, so that, I'm not going to get a nasty surprise come next month when the ship comes in and that they all come out and, that there's a humongous bill coming my way, because I've gone and pre-ordered a load of locos. Because this is the thing with the hobby, and it's one of those things that's really starting to bug me is this immediate release of a product in every color it ever wore, all in
Mm.
one go. Like Revolution have got, no, I'm not sure. I can't remember the wagon code, but it's the nice box wagons that they've done. And you can, I know Hatton's, sorry, not Hatton's, they're gone. Rails announced today that, we've got until the end of March to pre-order these wagons to guarantee that you'll get them. These wagons are £50 a wagon, and if you want a decent rake that looks half convincing, depending on your modeling, if you're just run whatever you like and I'll just have two wagons behind that diesel and that'll do, then that's absolutely fine. But I like to have something looking like it is on the railway.
Hmm.
You're probably looking around 10 wagons minimum, really, and that's a lot of money for just a train.
Mm.
uh, but then they've got these wagons in the Network Rail livery. Well, I wouldn't mind a couple of them. They've got the GBRF ones. Well, they'd be quite nice to have behind that. And then on top of that, Key Model World have already gone in with them and got these limited edition Capab in the blue, the royal
Hmm.
blue ones. And I have gone and ordered those ones. And I looked at it and went, well, I can't order the others because I've already got them coming. And again, it's we've got to a point now where it's even wagons. You've got to consider your pre-orders and wagons. Where once upon a time you could walk into a model shop and you'd end up walking with a carrier bag full of them, and you'd still have a handful of change. And I do wonder why there isn't sort of more of a drip feeding. And I don't, maybe that's just because the way we are as modelers, this instant demand of wanting everything now. Like, I want this train and I want these wagons that go with it because I want the complete train immediately. Maybe we're just too impatient for that, but that's kind of our downfall now, that we're literally paying the price for it. So
yeah.
But yeah, I really do like that. So yeah, sort of gone off on a tangent, but yeah, the Acura scale payoff month by month, I think is great. It's something I really would like Revolution to do. Because like, as I say, they obviously, you pay them a deposit up front to get your product. And the one I keep looking at is the 180 they're going to do. And I saw the prototype at Ali Pali. It looks absolutely fantastic. But again, it's a case of forking out a lot of money for just a deposit and then paying the other half when it's ready. And at the moment, I'm not in that position to do that. And it's looking more and more likely to just be one of those models I'll miss out on.
I think what's scary about it is and that sucks that you're going to miss out. You could possibly miss out on a loco that you're excited about. That's not good, regardless. One of the things that makes this such a weird thing is that effectively, it's not like you're pre-ordering something that's £20. You're pre-ordering stuff that's £300 plus in some situations.
Yeah.
So those who don't know, I'm very stingy with my money in the sense that there are only 2 brand new things that I have pre-ordered since I got back into the hobby, and that was the Class 423 and the Acura Scale Class 50. I've already said why I love the Class 50 one, because I effectively got to pay £20 and then pay the rest off over 6 months, and then it was delayed, which made it even better because it meant that, like, I've already paid for it, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I had this ultimate fear that the Hornby 423 coming out, it was a £325 train, and like, you have that fear of it coming out when you have something, you want to effectively be able to pay for it and know that it's paid for.
Yes.
Somebody will be sitting there saying, well, you should be better with your money and you should be able to put that to the side. It's like, fair enough. Well, that's how you want to do it.
Or put it on a credit card or something like that. But
yeah. I'm into model trains. I'd rather just pay for something and then know that it's paid for. So companies out there, if you're listening, follow the Acura Scale way of doing it. If you want people to invest in a pre-order or anything like that, you let me pay for it in installments, or you let me pay a deposit and then pay, or even let me pay for all of it when I have the money, rather than having to wait for you to take the money out of my account 2 weeks, but like the week it happens. That's the thing. You don't get a pre-warning. You don't get a...
no, it just turns up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As I say, that's exactly the issue I've had this month, was just everything's just all arrived at once, and you're like, oh... And and I've got my youngest birthday next month, and so it's not a good month for you to for me to be seen taking delivery of parcels of train. The questions will be asked in the household, sort of thing. But
it's a very, very weird thing. And so in short, pre-orders are coming out. Let's have a look at maybe adapting the change. We've obviously discussed about, like, if we want the prices to reflect the locos, and so Jenny Kirk, I watched one of her videos today, and she talked about how some of the railroad stuff is actually really good value for money. Completely, like, it's so in my local shop there is a sound fitted Class 47 Hornby Railroad, but it's sound fitted. Let's just clarify that it's a sound fitted one, regardless of what you think of the townships they use, for £125. That's less than many locos out there, let alone a sound fitted one. So they can do it. They're doing it. I mean, they're using the old Lima bodies, but that doesn't matter, because Lima are some of the best locos I ever had running before I moved to DCC. So
I really do. I miss the Lima stuff. I miss those days, because when I was a kid, and I remember going to the local model shop, and the absolutely stacked full of Lima locos, because they like you say, they were cheap to produce and they just churn them out in all the different colors, but it
Mhm.
didn't matter because they were like £40 a loco or whatever it was. And if you wanted the detail, you went to these little cottage industries and you bought the parts to improve them and make the models. And that's one of the things that I think has died in the hobby is that sort of thing. And I remember actually there was someone on Instagram the other day and complaining that they were looking for the Hatton's 14XX. And it's like, well, good luck finding one of them. Um, but I just say, I said you can get the Hornby one. I said, and you can make a good job of it. And I think it's Tris at Double O'Neill. He actually done a couple. I think he did it over two videos of improving one of those. And he done. I mean, Tris is a very good modeler anyway, but he done a really good job of that. And sometimes I think that's what he's missing. The hobby, we're so spoiled with this high end detail that we kind of forget what the hobby was about, and
Mhm.
it's modeling. And nowadays, it's just more ready to plant and just plonk on and off you go.
And I think it's
Um,
very much like there used to be a glut of people who would be willing to take the plunge on those models because they were as cheap as they were. And it was a case of
yeah,
you use those skills to, and I think there's a lot less, I mean, it works for me. In my personal opinion, it definitely benefits me. The fact that there's a lot less people who are willing to make those changes to their locos and their rolling stock. And then you get people coming to people such as various multiple units who will build kits for you. Then you've got Steve from Neville Grove. You've got all these different people who will do the weathering for you and do the building for you because we're in this age where it's easier to get someone else to do it for you for money than it is for you to learn how to do it yourself.
yeah, and I think it's also that it's that terrifying thought of mucking up your very expensive model, isn't it?
Hmm.
It's I think models should be weathered, and I know you're in absolute agreement with this. And I know people do like the pristine models, and that's that's their choice, and that's absolutely fine. But um, I'm sure there's people out there, and I know I get like it because when I get the weathering bug, I will do a batch of weathering, and then I'll stop for a period of time, and then I think, oh, I want to weather something. And again, because it's been so long, I feel I'm terrified of getting out one of my expensive models and start getting the airbrush having to go because I'm like, I'm going to muck this up. And it's getting that confidence back in there again. But like you say, once upon a time, if the model didn't cost that much, then if you mucked it up, it didn't really matter. You could sort it out. But now it's that sort of risk, isn't it? And again, do you know what? I'm going to give it to someone else to do. Um, So yeah, it's just a funny one, isn't it? But I mean, it's definitely something I'm want to have another go at. It's sort of a project I've got in mind. Is I've picked up this battered up Eurostar for about £30 from Howard's Models and their second hand section. And my original intention was just take the motor chassis out and stick it in another Eurostar I had, but I've since sold that Eurostar. But I've kept the £30 one. And something I'm wanting to do for a project in the future is I need something for my rail adventure HSTs to pull around.
Hmm.
So I thought, yeah, I'm going to take that Eurostar and I'm going to chop it up. I'm going to try and make it look like a new, modern day unit, or maybe just like a fictional train that a company has taken one of these Eurostars and as what they do on the real railway, they've now built a new train out of it.
Mm.
And Adventure HSCs are hauling it to its new location. So um, it's something I want to do because, again, like I say, you don't see that much modelling these days.
No.
And it definitely would be nice to see more of.
Yeah.
Be taking the plunge in that.
Yeah. I very much agree. So if you're somebody who does this kind of thing, please let us know because I'd love to be able to share this sort of stuff. I know there are plenty of people who do it, but like James has said, I think we need more of it. People need to take the plunge. Maybe not on their £300 sound fitted loco,
Yeah.
but
I mean, you can if you want and put it on YouTube for our entertainment. But we can sit there all tense and will you bugger it up or not? But
I want you to be wearing
yeah,
a heart rate
absolutely.
monitor
Yeah,
whilst doing
great.
it.
Yeah, if there is anyone out there that does do that, yeah, do get in contact with us. If you've got a YouTube channel or anything like that, we'd love to sort of give it a shout out and have a look at it. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's we were going to talk about Ali Pali, but I think that's a really good place for us to stop there. We've had quite a nice discussion about where this could go with the Mike Ashley thing. I'm going to end it on a quite a fun note in the fact that on the Independent, the picture of it is a picture of I'm going to get it completely wrong what kind of diesel it is, but effectively the diesel's not on the track properly, so it's one of the worst stage photos I've ever seen.
Is it the
It's
Class
like
67?
no, no, it's I want to say it's like a baby warship. That's what it looks like. Um, but yeah. So if you want to have a look at the Mike Ashley article on the Independent, and you'll be able to see that there.
I've just googled it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's
It just tickled me.
it
I
says
was
yeah,
like,
it's a North. I think it's a North British 29. It's it's not on the track at all. That's in
there we go.
fairness, the hand of God is just about to correct things by the looks of things.
It is. I think they've been very clever there, and they have they're using it as a moment that this is possibly someone re-railing something, getting something back on track.
That's it.
That's how I'm going to look at it.
That's exactly what they intended.
Yeah. Cool. So if you're happy, James, I think we've covered the subject light-heartedly, but enough that we've had a general discussion about it. And
Absolutely. I think we've got a few points of slander in there that will be coming our way. A few misquoted facts. So yeah, obviously, just a disclaimer: everything that we've said at this time is correct, as far as we are aware. I think that should cover us legally. But yeah, I think that does tie it up nicely. Yeah, indeed, what we were going to talk about Ali Pali, but I have a video on YouTube if you want to see what Ali Pali was like.
what a
I've got
great
majority of
idea.
layouts, not every layout, because it's always the same there. It's split between two rooms, and I always try to go to the smaller room first because it's less busy, and then get to the other one. But there's sort of during that transition where everyone's going to the other room, some of the layouts are quite difficult to get to. So I didn't get to film everything, although the ones I did miss are ones I've seen before. But yeah, you can find my video on YouTube. Unfortunately, I do narrate over the top of it.
My God.
Not everyone who's been watching my videos is happy with that. But unfortunately, that is my channel, and then that is my presenting style of exhibition videos. So if you don't want me talking all over it, go watch someone else because there is at least 20 other videos of that show without talking. But if you would like to learn about the layouts, then yeah, do watch mine, Ali Pali on Western Signalman YouTube channel.
Can I just say, like how I found your YouTube channel was because of your narration. I'd been following you on Instagram for ages, but I hadn't like made the link. But
Yeah.
the thing that got me into your channel was the fact that you were the one person who narrated over the top of the. Because you know what, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear the person talking to the person next to them making some racist comment about like different ethnic minorities, whilst there's also the sound of a train in the background. It ruins. People complain about immersion. That ruins immersion for me. I much rather prefer. I'm blowing smoke up your ass now. But I much prefer the narration and you talking about the layouts and stuff. So let's be really honest. Tell that person to do one.
There was a lot of other people that commented, I think, have pushed it that way. Don't think I needed to say anything to them. The statistics with my channel do suggest that those videos are the most popular, and the narration is always very well received. And I'm going to continue doing it, even if some people do find it annoying. But I do find it amusing that you said with some of the other exhibition videos, you don't want to hear what people are talking about in the background. And I was watching one the other day, and it was a very, very bizarre conversation about broadband that you could just hear. And I thought, because I know we discussed this, and I'm just going to throw it on you, but my challenge to you for our next podcast is I would like you to quote the bizarrest thing you heard on a model railway exhibition video the next time we meet. Just
okay.
See what is out there.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, I'll see what I can do. Bizarrely, I usually only watch yours. It's very rare for me to watch it, but I'll do it. I'll watch them.
Excellent.
Cool. So there's nothing from me. I'm brand new video from myself talking about my layout being broken up and turned into firewood. That's just dropped. So if you want to watch that, you can go to Emperor's Path YouTube channel as well. James, how can we find you on Instagram?
So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Western Signalman. And you want to find me on YouTube, he's also Western Signalman. And if you feel like emailing me, it's westernsignalman@outlook.com.
That's official to have an Outlook as well, an outlook.com.
I have a feeling I might have used an underscore there, but it'll bounce back. If it bounces back, there's an underscore in it. If it doesn't, it goes straight through. I can't imagine there's any other signalman out there. Although I say that, I got a feeling someone's been going around Ali Pally pretending to be me, but we can talk about that next time. Sam, how can they find you?
So at Emperors_Path on Instagram, there is an Emperors Path community page, and there is also a Emperors Path Facebook page. I have a feeling I haven't talked about this with James, so I'll talk about it off air, and it will be an update in the next episode. But I haven't got any news. Oh, I tell you what, I did want to do. I did want to give a shout out to the British Railroader as a YouTube channel this episode. I don't know if you've got anyone prepared. I really like Steve. He is an Englishman doing an American railroad based in New York, Long Island sort of area. It's really fascinating because it's nice hearing someone who knows the things that we talk about and is able to compare them, so we get an understanding of it. So Steve, the British Railroader, I fully encourage you to go and check out his channel. He's not got that many subscribers, and I think it's a shame because the level of modelling that he does is fantastic. So that's my little shout out.
I'll have to go look at that one. The one I've been watching quite a bit of recently is LNWR Crook Street.
Oh, not got that one.
This is I think I spoke to you before about it. It's the chap. It's O gauge, and it is pre-grouping era, and obviously LNWR, but there's a little bit of Great Central in there. And some of the early videos are just his trains running around, and he's put a few sound effects over the top. But some of the later videos, he then narrates what is actually happening, and I believe it's actually based on like proper timetable practices and that. And he talks about the different various trains and what's going on in his layout, and sort of gives you this whole world. Absolutely fascinating and interesting to watch. So that's my recommendation for a YouTube channel for this week. LNWR Crook Street.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So if you've not got anything else, I believe that's a wrap on episode 1.
That is a wrap on episode 1. Hopefully we've kept you entertained, informed, and have replaced your model railway for just a short period of time. Thanks for listening to us. I've been James.
And I've been Sam. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
This service terminates here. Please ensure you take all of your personal belongings with you.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.